Welcome back to Eyewitness News this morning, joined by Chris O'Hara here to answer your legal questions. Reminder, call us 436-1212 if you have a question. We already do have a caller on the line, so hey caller, go ahead now. You can ask your question to Chris.
Yes, my name is Michael Boat. I got my truck stolen back in 2013. The guy that stole it got into a wreck, and I didn't have insurance on it because I wasn't driving it because the power steering was out on it. Well, he gets a ticket for getting in the wreck, not having no insurance, no registration, and no driver's license, but they suspended my license, and I wasn't even driving the vehicle. So, is there anything? I talked to a lawyer one time, a long time ago, and he said that the statute of limitations would run out in 2 years. Well, I went down to try to get my driver's license, and they said I had to pay, file an SR-22 thing or something like that. Anyway, what do you think?
They may have had, it may be because you didn't have a license on the vehicle at the time when the wreck occurred. Even though you weren't driving the vehicle, if the vehicle's registered in your name at times, there is a requirement to have insurance on it. I think you probably would have had an action at that point, though, even though that because the vehicle was stolen, you would have possibly had an action to try to avoid that. What I would suggest is you contact the Department of Revenue and find out why it is exactly that your license was suspended, and take action through there to try to get your license back if you haven't done so already.
Yeah, does it matter that at all that he wasn't driving the vehicle, and if you own the car, you have to have it registered with insurance?
It does matter the fact that you weren't driving the vehicle. Because it very well could be that you had no intention of driving the vehicle at the time or getting on the roadway. But the scenario that took place, I don't know why the Department of Revenue necessarily suspended your license for that reason, given the fact that your vehicle was stolen. But it's something that you could probably, even though you may not have done anything at this point, you could still try to contact them and try to get your license back. I think it does matter the fact that you weren't driving.
Right. Complicated situation there. You need to get sorted out, obviously, for your own well-being. Chris, I wanted to ask you this morning, we've been following a story of a person who accidentally shot themselves in the leg on the property of a convenience store, not inside the building, but on the property itself. Could that person face any charges, possibly?
Well, it is possible, and I don't know all the circumstances around it. Obviously, this just happened. But if the firearm was discharged within the city limits, or in an area where wasn't lawfully to be discharged, and I assume at the quick shop that would have been the scenario, it's possible he could face, even at a minimum, an unlawful discharge of a firearm. Again, that's without knowing all the facts of it, but yeah, there are certain criminal actions that could transpire based on the fact that the firearm went off when it wasn't supposed to go off in an area it wasn't supposed to go off.
A lot of rules for gun owners that need to follow. Thanks so much, Chris, for being here answering these questions.